Hello and welcome to the channel. My name's Mike Walker and this is episode 2 of 4 about producing a chat show. I'll link to episode 1 here, which covered the studio and lighting the set. In this episode we're looking at sound and how I recorded and captured the audio from the guests. I'm not saying this is the best way to record the sound because it isn't, but it's the way I did it 10 years ago. Ideally, you would have a dedicated sound engineer that did nothing but have his headphones on and he was constantly checking and monitoring the levels and making sure that everything was spot on, that the levels were correct and there was no overloads or under recordings or anything like that, or any problems with the microphone being knocked or shirt noise, or there's quite a lot of things that can go wrong.
Yeah, I think we've lost sound. At the moment, on your mic, I don't know. Right, yeah. Probably let's just have a look. You might have got to spend again. I was change the name to something more simple. Can't keep telling that story. I was nice, well,
No, well that's that. Yeah, so these became known as Bible Code Sundays, those days, and then.
Andy, tell us the lineup of the band then. What sort of instruments?
Well, I play button accordion. We've got fiddle, electric guitar.
So the budget didn't run to a sound engineer with a mixer. So the mics were recorded directly into this camera, into the Sony PMW-350. This camera does have 4 channels with limiters, so well capable of handling all the sound. More about the camera later, but just to say that normally a TV studio would have a gallery where the pictures and the sound are recorded there through vision mixers and sound mixers. I didn't have that luxury, so I had to record all the audio in camera and carefully monitor the sound with headphones from the camera. As long as the levels are good and not over recorded, that's staying under 0 dB and ideally fixing the levels between -10 and -12 dB. That will give enough headroom should there be any unexpected peak in the level on the mic. Then the levels and balance between the mics can be processed back in the edit suite. The PMW-350 has 2 3-pin XLR inputs on the back and 1 5-pin XLR on the front. This front socket, normally used for the onboard stereo mic and wired for stereo, can in fact feed 2 of the channels with a correctly wired cable. So I had a cable made to enable 2 wireless lav mics to be routed into the front of the camera, which then left me 2 3-pin XLRs at the back to add another 2 mics, and these could be routed then to channels 3 and 4. Let me just show you what over-recording sounds like. As you can see now on channel 1 we have the meter reading and we're well under -10 as I come a little bit nearer. So let's just push it to a little bit further. We're at -10, -12 now dB, and going up a little further as I raise my voice. You can see it's probably going to -6, -3, and then we're just coming up to 0 now. There we're on 0, and I'll push it up a little bit further, and now we're into the realms of distortion, and that sounds pretty horrendous. And this is probably irretrievable sound. So the idea is to keep your levels way down, and let's go back down to an acceptable level. There we have just about -10 dB, and if you can plot your levels there between -10, -12, you're going to get pretty good sound, nice clean sound. And the good thing about digital sound is you can boost it a lot more than you could in analog days where it was on tape, and if it was on tape and you boosted the levels you would get all the background noise from the tape, you know, the hiss, what we call the signal to noise ratio. Digital is pretty clean, and you can record a little bit lower on digital and still get the really good results. Okay, well that's it for this episode on sound acquisition for a little bit of Ireland all those years ago. Next we'll look at the 3 camera setup, the movement and the method used to capture the pictures. There'll be a further episode on editing and a little bit about planning the show, but for now, thanks for watching, thanks for staying with us, hope you've enjoyed it, hope you've learned something, and I'll catch you in the next one.